This is the Oral-B for Kids 6 Plus electric toothbrush. I've been testing it and putting it through its paces, and I'm here to give you my feedback and opinion on it. So I'm going to jump straight in with my verdict of this electric toothbrush because you want to know ultimately whether this brush is worth you investing in for your children. And the short answer is yes, this is an excellent electric toothbrush and I think it will suit many kids very well. It cleans the teeth really well, which is of course very important, and it has what I consider to be some very essential features built in to the brush. So you've got what you need to provide a good standard of oral health and help encourage your children to take better care of their teeth. However, aside from this box, there's very little that is actually specifically designed or engineered for kids, and it's a little bit of a fallacy really. This is essentially an adult's Oral-B Pro 1500 just disguised with a kid's name and packaging. More on that in a bit. But it's a great electric toothbrush, all things considered, and it will work particularly well for slightly older children who are a little bit more independent and need a little less adult supervision. So let's take a look at the pros and cons then. And the first positive has to be this small round brush head. Provides a good clean, and we've got easy access around the teeth and the rest of the mouth thanks to the size and this soft bristled toothbrush head. We've got a built-in timer and pacer to help encourage the user brush for the dentist recommended 2 minutes. We've also got a pressure sensor built in to the brush handle as well to alert the user when they're brushing too hard and potentially doing damage to their teeth and gums. It's a lovely slim and grippy handle, and it has a battery life of a little over 2 weeks, which is really positive as well. So to the cons then, there's nothing really about this electric toothbrush that is specifically engineered for kids. It's an adult's toothbrush that kids can use really. So to give it a kid's name is perhaps a bit misleading. And the other thing is the box contents. You get the brush handle, a brush head and a charging stand as well as documentation. It's all you need to get your kid up and brushing, but it'd be nice to get a couple of extra brush heads or a travel case in the box, wouldn't it? So I'm going to start talking a little bit more about what this is actually like to use on a daily basis and explain a bit more about the features. But before I do, I just want to talk about the variants of this brush that are available because it is quite confusing. So this is primarily known as the Oral-B for Kids 6 Plus electric toothbrush, and as the name implies, it's sort of designed for kids aged 6 plus, primarily because of the design and the size of the brush head, etc. That said, I mentioned there's nothing specific about this toothbrush that is aimed at kids, and that is correct. Now, this variant here is also known as the Sparkle and Shine in terms of the actual design. What is also available is a Minnie Mouse and Star Wars theme brush handle. Now, the only thing different is on the brush handle here, on this expanse of white rubber grip, is a printed theme. So it's like a Star Wars decal or a Minnie Mouse decal, and potentially a slightly different brush head. Still a small round brush head, but the bristle configuration might be different. You probably get the Pro Gum Care brush head included. So nothing different apart from really designs and the small brush head there. So I want to make you aware of that because there are a few variants and it could potentially affect the price and availability. But probably the one you're going to see most is this Sparkle and Shine version that I've got here. So as you can see from the hands-on here, the toothbrush, it's got a fairly clinical design. This one is all white in colour and looks a bit grown up. It's not really that kid friendly. Maybe the Minnie Mouse and Star Wars variants is going to be better for some children, but this will work perfectly well for the independent brusher. It's lovely slim in hand. It's not too heavy. It feels pretty solid. You've got the rubber grip on the front to help hold the toothbrush. You've got raised plastic ridges on the back which resist against the fingertips to help with grip. There is a gloss plastic body here. It's not too slippy, but a little bit more slippy than some toothbrushes, but you know, fairly nice overall. A single press on this power button will turn it on. Now, as you can hear, that brush is actually quite loud. That's pretty standard for Oral-B electric toothbrushes, so it's definitely not the quietest of brushes. When you first press the power button, you get a nice tactile feedback there, so you can really feel that you've pressed it, and it'll launch into the standard daily clean mode. You can actually press the button again to switch on the second cleaning mode available on this toothbrush, which is sensitive, which is slightly different and slightly less powerful than the first mode, and works particularly well if you've got sensitive teeth or gums. So you've got the choice between the two modes. Now, once you turn the toothbrush on, the 2-minute timer and pacer will kick in. And what that means is at 2 minutes after the brush is turned on, there'll be a pause in the brush head motion and a change in the sound, which will alert you that the clean is over. The brush will not automatically turn itself off. You'll need to power the brush off by pressing the power button. Linked into that 2-minute timer is a 30-second quad pacer. So at 30-second intervals, there will be a pause in the brush head motion and a change in the sound, which encourages the brusher to move from one quadrant to another. Now, if this is being used by children under the age of 8, they're probably a little bit more independent and probably quite good at brushing their teeth, but it's always good to give parental supervision and to make sure that they're brushing properly. Teach them how to use the pacer to try and clean their teeth evenly, and ultimately for the dentist recommended 2 minutes. Now, one of the dangers with brushing your teeth is brushing too hard. If you scrub the teeth, you can do damage to the teeth and gums. And built into this Oral-B toothbrush is a pressure sensor. So this panel on the back will light up red if it detects too much pressure is being applied. That will slow down the brush motor, and it's an indication to reduce that pressure to avoid doing any unwanted damage to the teeth or gums, and that's a nice feature to have built in. We've got this small round brush head, which is really good at cleaning the teeth. Clinically proven. We've got the nice soft bristles of this sensitive brush head included. They just pull off and push back on. There are a range of different Oral-B brush heads which can fit onto this handle, but for kids a sensitive brush head is absolutely ideal. The bristles will fade over a 3-month period. That is to act as a visual stimulus to remind you to change the brush head. You should on average replace it every 3 months, sooner if the brush head is showing obvious signs of wear or damage. The toothbrush handle is sealed, so it's water resistant, so you can rinse it under the tap, use it perhaps under the shower if you prefer. Don't go submerging it in water, but it should resist a good splash of water. This toothbrush has been approved by the American Dental Association, which means it's gone through a rigorous testing and vetting process to get their seal of acceptance. So that is some testament to the quality of this toothbrush. And it does also come with a 2-year warranty out of the box. So should anything go wrong, you've got that peace of mind that you've got that warranty there. But Oral-B generally have a good reliability, so it's unlikely that you should find fault with this electric toothbrush. Built into this toothbrush handle is a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. It offers a little over 2 weeks of battery life, which is good if you want to go away on vacation. You can take this and not have to worry about having to charge it. It does come provided with a charging stand. It's a 2-pin power adapter on the charging stand that's hardwired in. Works on 110 to 130 volts. So do bear in mind if you're traveling for an extended period of time and need to take a charging stand, you may need a voltage as well as a plug adapter, but you're going to get 2 weeks out of this on a full charge. It takes about 12 hours to fully charge this electric toothbrush, and when it's on charge you get information via this green light on the battery status icon. So this will flash whilst it's charging. When it's fully charged, the light will go out, and then in use you'll get feedback via the battery status icon here as well. So it'll be green when the power is good, and when the battery is low it will flash red, indicating to you that you need to get this on the charger fairly soon to avoid running out of power. So to the price of the Oral-B Kids electric toothbrush then. Now, prices are always subject to change, so I've tried to give the most accurate information at the time of recording. The recommended retail price for this toothbrush is $119.99 here in Canada. Now, that is quite expensive, and I don't necessarily suggest you pay that price. Thankfully, the general selling price is quite a bit lower, much closer to around about 70 Canadian dollars. Now that price makes it comparable to the likes of other electric toothbrushes and, for example, the Philips Sonicare for Kids electric toothbrush, which is one to consider alongside this. Now, you do need to factor in the cost of replacement brush heads, and they generally work out around about $8 per time. Now, one of the things we like to do here at electricteeth is price a toothbrush over a 3-year period to try and give a rough idea of what it's like to own from a price perspective, and use that as a bit of a benchmark in comparison to the competition. Now, this kid's toothbrush works out around about 14 cents per day. That's fractionally cheaper than the Philips Sonicare alternative, which is a few cents more, but potentially the Sonicare could be the better buy longer term for parents, because it offers more in terms of functionality, notably the Bluetooth connectivity and the app, which could be useful as a stimulus and a motivation to get kids to brush, because this is really geared more towards the independent brusher. So it's best to shop around for the best prices. You should be able to pick this up for a few different places in Canada. Check out your local pharmacy or grocery stores, or go online and shop about for it. Just be aware that you don't want to pay that full retail price of $120, because you're essentially being overcharged. You can get it quite a bit cheaper. So overall, in terms of price, it's a good value option, particularly for the more independent brusher, given the features that you get. But that Sonicare might be a better value longer term if your child needs a little bit more help, a little bit more stimulus with brushing, and maybe like the app that Sonicare offer could be more educational and help them to achieve a better standard of oral health, and the Sonicare might be a better option. So, as I intimated at the start of the review, this is a very good electric toothbrush. I struggle to find any faults with it. It's perfectly suited to an adult, and although it's marketed to a child, it's only really going to work best for those independent brushers. I say it's going to work best for the independent brushers because those kids who need the extra bit of motivation, maybe they like the bold colours, maybe they like the Bluetooth connectivity and the apps on the smartphone, this isn't going to be the brush for them if they're motivated by that sort of thing. But for the slightly older child, this is going to provide a very good clean. It's going to serve them well for many years. You've got the small round brush head, you've got the built-in timer, the pacer and the pressure sensor, which are all very good. But you're really buying this under a bit of a caveat that you've got to have a child who's capable of using this and doesn't need those extra motivational aids. So if that is the case, this is a solid electric toothbrush, and it's also one that us adults can use as well. So overall, this is a really good, solid electric toothbrush that I really struggle to find fault with. If you found this video useful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. For more videos like this, click subscribe. But until next time, thanks for watching.